My role as the Dean of a School of Education, I need to think about and consider as part of my daily work. But I think right now we are in a situation with the implementation of the Common Core, that coming down the line, these kind of movements being developed, large school districts across the nation adopting goals, college and career ready for every student. We as a School of Education have to begin to retool and reorganize ourselves to be able to produce a new set of teachers with new sets of skills. Our teacher candidates who can go out in the field and develop these ideas of innovation and taking risk and the 4 C's with students. We have to create teachers who can do this, create this in students.
But your role's changed too, I would think. Educators before didn't think about business and links to the community with businesses and becoming entrepreneurial and fundraising.
We have to be entrepreneurial in the School of Education. And this is why we within the school have so many different projects that we launch. We are working with a local district. We're developing a project-based university elementary school, and it's rocky. Right? It's, and sometimes I think, it's important for us to innovate. It's important for us to take risks. We're gaining a lot from this project, but sometimes I wish we weren't spending all our energy and time on that. And I think it's important for a School of Education. I think currently it's a necessity for us to be innovators, to look for new ways to create programs. So when this came along, when this opportunity started coming together, I go, this fits the new model of what a School of Education should be doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Bill?
It's a core value of mine that if, as a faculty member, I'm going to teach something, I sure as hell better be doing it myself. And I hold that value as a dean. Ultimately, I should be a role model. So if we're telling our students the most important thing you can get out of your education, K through 12 university, is to be an economic unit of one, to be an entrepreneurial thinker, then I need to act that way. Fortunately, I believe I'm hardwired to do that. It's sort of been my own personal journey and career path. I come from an entrepreneurial family, a family business background, and I've always been enthralled with the education process because I find it tremendously entrepreneurial in terms of the number of different opportunities and things that you can do. There are so many ways to be successful and to make a difference in education. So for me, it's very exciting. But you can also run off in a bunch of different directions and appear as a school, as a university, to be very schizophrenic without any goal or focus or whole. And I think one of the opportunities in collaborating together between business and education is to establish a shared vision and a focus. We have things that we can teach each other. In the science of business, our most admired organizations are learning organizations, are those organizations that have continued to evolve over time and adjusted as technology and globalization and new markets became areas of opportunities for them. Similarly, some of the best educational organizations are those that have sound fundamental business principles. They're efficient, they're effective, they have a mission and goals and objectives and a strategy to pursue those. So the marriage between these two disciplines is tremendously exciting, and from our history of science, some of the most significant advances come when you bring two disciplines together.
It's so artificial, in my opinion, to separate business and education. And I think it's so rare to see it happening. I kind of congratulate both of you guys on getting it together.
Another point I'd like to add to this discussion is that the need within the students that we work with is huge. So our students come to us, and typically they're very altruistic, right? They want to go out into the community and serve, and sometimes that is becomes such a passion for them that they don't understand how they fit into a larger cog, the larger system, right? And many times they won't develop these kind of skills themselves. I was at a school board meeting where the teachers union came in to rally to try to get a larger salary on Wednesday. And they brought a lot of teachers forward who were struggling economically, right? And I was thinking about entrepreneurialism when they were talking. And I was going, how have they thought about this themselves personally? How have they taken charge of themselves, of their life in a fiscal way? How have they developed their skill base and to such a point where they could weather the kinds of economic storms that are going on? You know, clearly want teachers to be focused on their classroom, but there are other skills that they can develop.
They're
too.
not being economic units of one in some cases.
They don't think that way. They're thinking about serving students. But this could be added to their skill set, and it wouldn't take away from their skill set. It wouldn't take away from their service to the community. It would be an additional asset to their community.
Yes, not a replacement.
Right. And so many students learn from what their teachers are doing. This would be a way for our K-12 students to learn about these entrepreneurial skills.
In that spirit of practicing what we teach our students, we, at all levels of education, value the in situ experience, the internship, the project that has students out in the community. Why wouldn't we hold that same expectation of our educators? So yes, there are times that they are in the classroom, but there are times where maybe they have an assignment, an externship, a project, working with a community organization or with a business organization. The lessons from that experience become examples that are brought into the classroom, and the connections made from that collaboration out in the community are resources that can be pulled back into the classroom. So as Carlos was saying, it becomes additive. It's not a takeaway. It's exponential growth of possibilities and potentially resources.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think also really importantly as well is there's this notion that teachers and their students do not work in a real world, right? So, you know, I walked into math classes before, right, and they're solving complex equations, and they do it in isolation without a real focus on how you might be able to use this in the real world. I'm sure that your kids said that to you when they were doing algebra, right?
Why are we doing this?
Yeah, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And sometimes you can come up with a good answer. Sometimes you just make something up, right? But if we were to have these externships or these opportunities for more collaboration and more places to kind of focus our learning, you could make what happens in the classroom much more real and much more exciting. Imagine if you're a high school principal, right? And one of your goals for your students is they all do a Kickstarter project, right? That they have to form some sort of team. They have to think about some sort of accomplishment that they want to do, and that they try to do some fundraising using Kickstarter. If that were a requirement of every student who left that school, we would change what society would look like. We would be developing these skills, and I would argue that the future with students with those skills and with the knowledge base they're getting as part of the K-12 system and the university system, I think we'll be in a better place.
But the only way it's going to be a requirement and something that each student is going to do is if first each teacher is willing to do that, because they are the role models for our kids. Yeah. So if you get the teachers thinking, hey, I can do this, and then they share that with the students are going to want to do it. They're simply going to want to do it to emulate these people that they hold in such high regard, but they'll also see instrumentally the value in doing it.
It's a form of modeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, and they may not do that in their life. They may not do their Kickstart project, but at least that they have learned some skills that they would be able to apply. We know a gentleman, a science teacher, who teaches physics down in Novato, and Novato High School. And during the summer, he designs toys. That's his fun thing that he does. And so what he actually has is a class that's kind of a prerequisite to go into physics at Novato High, at least in his group of students, that they actually disassemble the toy and they have to reprogram the chip in those toys to have a different song associated with whatever the toy does, right? So you have a doll that sings, you know, Happy Birthday, right? So you can have a Lady Gaga song embedded in there. I'm sure there's copyright issues, but he's teaching them how to do that, right? He's teaching them these skills to be able to invent. And then he's able to attach physics and electronics education to that work. And I think there's huge value in that, giving relevancy to what the students are learning.